Hi there. We are on day 2 of Through the New Testament in 1 year. One chapter a day. Sometimes a chapter in 2 days when it gets more into it. So today, and I found a way to I put two versions up here. We're using the Holman Christian Standard, and we're also I like to keep the Geneva, 1599 Geneva Bible, because it has the most interesting notes in it, okay? They put footnotes in the margins in this Bible, and they were printed with it, okay? Way back then, there's lots of good information in there. And I just like that version. The one our forefathers used in the beginning of the country. Okay. One chapter. Here we go. Matthew 2. After Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of King Herod, wise men from the east arrived unexpectedly in Jerusalem, saying, "Where is he who has been born King of the Jews? For we saw his star in the east and have come to worship him." And you notice it doesn't say how many wise men. It just says wise men. Okay. When King Herod heard this, he was deeply disturbed, and all Jerusalem with him. So he assembled all the chief priests and scribes of the people and asked them where the Messiah would be born. In Bethlehem of Judea, they told him, because this is what was written by the prophet. "And you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the leaders of Judah, because out of you will come a leader who will shepherd my people Israel." Then Herod secretly summoned the wise men and asked them to exact time the star appeared. He sent them to Bethlehem and said, "Go and search carefully for the child. When you find him, report back to me so that I can go and worship him." Right. Well, there's a thing there. I know even on this one. And pay him homage. Right. After hearing the king, they went on their way, and there it was, the star they had seen in the east. It led them until it came and stopped above the place where the child was. When they saw the star, they were overjoyed beyond measure. Entering the house, they saw the child with Mary, his mother, and falling to their knees, they worshipped him. Another note. Paid him homage. Then they opened their treasures and presented him with gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Now, this is why they say there were 3 wise men, because there were 3 gifts, okay? There could have been 12 wise men, okay? And we know that they got enough gold from these wise men to survive 8 years, right, in exile in Egypt. That was a long time, right? And after being warned in a dream not to go back to Herod, they returned to their own country by another route, right? Okay, the flight to Egypt. After they were gone, an angel of the Lord suddenly appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, "Get up, take the child and his mother, flee to Egypt, and stay there until I tell you. For Herod is about to search for the child to destroy him." So he got up, took the child and his mother during the night, and escaped to Egypt. He stayed there until Herod's death, so that what was spoken by the Lord through the prophet might be fulfilled. "Out of Egypt I called my son." Right? And this is a very sad part. I don't like reading this part. Massacre of the innocents. Then Herod, when he saw that he'd been outwitted by the wise men, flew into a rage. He gave orders to massacre all the male children in and around Bethlehem who were 2 years old and under, in keeping with the time he had learned from the wise men. Then what was spoken through Jeremiah the prophet was fulfilled. A voice was heard in Ramah, weeping and great mourning, Rachel weeping for her children, and she refused to be consoled because they were no more. Lamentations and weeping. Okay, that was awful, awful. After Herod died, an angel of the Lord suddenly appeared in a dream to Joseph in Egypt, saying, "Get up, take the child and his mother, and go to the land of Israel, because those who sought the child's life are dead." She got up and took the child and his mother and entered the land of Israel. But when he heard that Archelaus was ruling over Judea in place of his father Herod, he was afraid to go there. After being warned in a dream, he withdrew to the region of Galilee. Then he went and settled in a town called Nazareth to fulfill what was spoken through the prophets, that he will be called a Nazarene. Right. So, there you go. Not a lot of detail in the Matthew part, but we know from the time that they were in Egypt for about 8 years, okay? And Jesus came back as a child. And the gifts that they got, gold, frankincense, and myrrh, were enough to sustain them the entire time they were in Egypt. Okay, there was a reason for all of this. All right, so there you go. That is out of the Holman Christian Standard Bible. Okay. I would read it out of here, but it's kind of hard to read over here. Well, we can look at the notes. All right. Christ, a poor child, laid down in a crib, and nothing set by of his own people receiveth, notwithstanding a noble witness of his divinity from heaven, and of his kingly estate, strangers, which his own also unwittingly allow of, although they do not acknowledge him. Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea. There was another tribe of Zebulun, right? That his finger becoming wise men from the east came to Jerusalem, saying, "Where is the King of the Jews that is born? For we have seen his star in the east and come to worship him." When King heard it, he was troubled, right? Which was much moved, for he was a stranger, and came to the kingdom by force. And the Jews were troubled, for wickedness is mad and raging, right? Nobody liked King Herod, okay? Troubled in all. This is where it says, "in all Jerusalem with him." Why would they be troubled? And gathering together all the chief priests, scribes, and people, he asked them where Christ should be born. And they told him at Bethlehem in Judea, for so it is written by the prophet. "And thou, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, art not the least among the princes of Judah, for out of thee shall come the governor that shall feed my people Israel, that shall rule and govern. For kings are fitly called leaders and shepherds of the people." And Herod privately called his wise men, and diligently inquired of them the time the star had appeared, and sent them to Bethlehem, saying, "Go and search diligently for the babe. When ye have found him, bring me word again, that I may also come and worship him." Right. New paragraph, right? So when they heard the king, they departed, and lo, the star which they had seen in the east went before them, till it came and stood over the place where the babe was. And when they saw the star, they rejoiced with an exceedingly great joy, and went into the house and found the babe with Mary his mother, and fell down and worshipped him, and opened their treasures, and presented unto him gifts, even gold and frankincense and myrrh, very expensive spices back then. And after they were warned of God in a dream that they should not go again to Herod, they returned into their country another way. New paragraph. After the departure, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, "Arise, take the babe and his mother, and flee to Egypt, and be there till I bring thee word, for Herod will seek the babe to destroy him." So he arose and took the babe and his mother by night, and departed into Egypt. And there was unto the death of Herod, that it might be fulfilled, which is spoken by the Lord of the prophet, saying, "Out of Egypt I have called my son." Right? No, not a lot of details here either. Okay? Then Herod, seeing that he was mocked of the wise men, was exceedingly wroth, and sent forth, and slew all male children that were in Bethlehem, and in all the coasts thereof, from 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had diligently searched out the wise men. Wow. Then what was fulfilled, which is spoken by the prophet Jeremiah, saying that in Ramah was a voice heard, mourning and weeping, a great howling, Rachel weeping for her children, and would not be comforted, because they were not. And when Herod was dead, behold, an angel of the Lord appeareth in a dream to Joseph in Egypt, saying, "Rise, take the babe and his mother, and go into the land of Israel, for they are dead which sought the babe's life." Then he arose up and took the babe and his mother, and came into the land of Israel. But when he heard that Archelaus, I don't know how to say that, did reign in Judea instead of his father Herod, he was afraid to go thither. Yet after he was warned in God in a dream, he turned aside into the parts of Galilee, and went and dwelt in a city called Nazareth, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken of the prophets, which was, that he should be called a Nazarite, or Nazarene, right? And look at all the interesting notes they put in here. Right? Christ, a poor child, laid down in a crib, and nothing set by his own people, receiveth, notwithstanding a noble witness of his divinity from heaven, and of his kingly estate, stranger, which his own also unwittingly allow of, although they do not acknowledge him. Now, it is said in Isaiah that he would be a simple man, the kind of man that you would avoid on the street. There would be nothing special about his appearance, okay? That kind of man, if you saw him walking down the street, would actually go out of your way to avoid him, not this beautiful angelic creature with radiant halo, okay? That's not what Jesus looked like. He was very simple. I have a video in my thing about what did Jesus look like. You should listen to it. It's pretty interesting. Some more notes. Wise and learned men, it is Persian word for saves in good part. Was much moved for strategy came in my foes, the Jews were troubled, for wickedness is mad and raging. And we read that one. They that expound the law to the people for the Hebrews take this word for another, which signifieth as much as to expound and declare. What's that, 2:4? What does that say? And gathering together all the chief priests and people, he asked them. Okay. So, well, there's lots of notes. I mean, if you want to look up this Geneva Bible, all of them have the notes in this. The original notes were put in the margins. Okay, and it's pretty interesting. So that's Matthew 2, and we will mark that as complete. Okay. And tomorrow we're doing Matthew 3, of course. The Messiah's herald, John the Baptist. Okay, jumping to John the Baptist tomorrow. Okay. Baptism of Jesus and the baptism of Jesus. That's exciting stuff. So there you go. That's Matthew 2. These will be nice short studies, usually under 15 minutes because it's just one chapter a day. There will be some chapters later on in the epistles, and like John and Corinthians, where we will spend a goodly amount of time tearing them apart, okay, and getting to the real root of them. But the first is just a story we're all familiar with. We will take note of the important parts and remember that the whole New Testament is all about Jesus. So give us a like if you think about it and subscribe so you can be notified when these are out every day. But until tomorrow, we'll do it again. See you then.